What's up, guys? Chuck Silver and Nick Marro here with Occupy Fantasy. Happy Friday. We're going to talk about DraftKings and FanDuel. A little bit different on the slate today. FanDuel cut off the last three games. Don't hate it. So we have a short one on DK. Luca's out. Big deal. Nick, how we doing today?
Good man, yeah. That time of year, things are getting crazy. I actually dropped your bit in Discord yesterday when I was on stream. How you've been kind of lowering your volume given all the chaos. Not the worst idea. I mean, there's still edge there if we could find it. I prefer the DK slate tonight, playing on both. But yeah, man, whenever the sites are three games different, it definitely makes it a little bit confident, a little complicated to put out content or do these streams. But we're here for you. We're gonna make it happen.
Yeah, on that note about lowering volume, it'll be slate dependent. Tonight, I don't think we have as much nonsense. I mean, Jared Roden's down in the G League, so we don't have to worry about him tonight, right?
God, dude, that Toronto crap killed me. I felt so smart not playing any Boucher. I thought he could get DMP'd, and then I had 100% Sheed, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah, I don't think I could have gotten that day more wrong. We couldn't predict Sheed getting benched after 12 minutes. He was playing well. It's kind of
You
like,
look great.
wow, I don't get it. It's very difficult right now, but like I said before, we're gonna do our best to get through it.
hmm
And Jeezy, how we doing? Unicorn Love, Landon. Lakers should just forfeit rather than suffer the embarrassment. Someone's stepping up, man. I don't think it's Alex Len, but someone is stepping up tonight. Did you happen to see highlights from the last game?
No, but yeah.
So Luca,
I know
amazing,
Luca. I had Luca everywhere,
amazing.
but yeah.
Alex Len is the most useless basketball player ever, dude. Like stick a 7 footer that's never played basketball out there, and I feel like they do a better job. Like those centers from the early 2000s that were on teams just to guard Shaq, like that's supposed to be his job, but he can't even be a big body. He's awful, man. As long as he's on the court, we have to target him because he's just so bad,
He
bad.
stinks. Yeah, Jokic is going to eat his lunch tonight. It's just, can he get it in three quarters? I mean, yeah, maybe someone keeps the game close. I don't know. We'll get to that game.
Like that's the thing. It's just okay, Alex Len, you're on our team. Sure, your job is to just piss off Jokic, come in and give him some trouble, but not happening, dude.
Yeah,
Trey's
man.
in. Rear Finch, good to see you. Jose is already coming out with the bangers, dude. How strong of a play is Doughton? Is this the first game? It is the first game. Let's go ahead and start with that. Philadelphia. Indy at Philly. We have. Oh, Indiana's 12-point favorites. I read that wrong. 232 total. I don't know what's going to go on with minutes. Nick, what are your initial thoughts on Philadelphia and Jared Butler's 66% projected ownership?
Yeah, I like Butler. I've been a big Butler fan even dating back to when he was on the Wizards. I was always just like, I wish this guy would get some minutes, but he's probably going to get the start here with Grimes out. I don't think Doughton starts to kind of answer Jose's question, but it doesn't really matter because Oubre, Yabusele, and Drummond, their minutes have been all over the place. I don't trust any of those three. If I'm playing anything here, it's going to be Butler matching the field. Justin Edwards, I think, looks good. He's not going to see a minutes cap. As I say that, he's only played 20 in back-to-back games. But I do trust him a little bit more than the others. But Downton, shouts out to Jose, even coming off the bench, probably my second favorite 76er here. If this game stays close or if it blows out, I think he's going to be heavily involved. He's shown really solid point per minute production as well against Toronto and Atlanta, getting over 30 fantasy points in just 26 or so minutes in each of those games. So he's someone I have interest in. Council as well, I'd throw into that group. So yeah, Butler, Downton, Council, my favorites here, regardless of who's starting. I almost don't care that they're coming off the bench. I actually prefer it because I'm thinking it might keep the ownership down. Bona, I don't really want to lock up my center spot early, but I'd rather play him than Drummond. I just don't see a world where Yabu, Oubre, or Drummond are getting the minutes we need them to be what they should be here, for lack of a better way to put it. But yeah, I think the Pacers can do whatever they want. I'd be surprised if this game stays close, but kind of even if it does, I don't think those starters, the regular starters, get the minutes that maybe we're projecting them for. We're going to take a look right now. But yeah, Grimes has been the one who's been the outlier actually getting the run. And the fact that he's out, yeah, the model's there with it. Yeah, only guy over 30 minutes is Butler. So he's the best. I really do like Council and Dallin, though.
Yeah, over on DK, Butler and Counselor are the two guys I'm getting more than 10% of. I do have Doughton mixed in as a pivot, though, Jose.
Oh, hell yeah.
He's fine. 15.2. Like, this is a guy that I think we should be pivoting in 8% for 66%. Like, I have Jared Butler for quite a bit more production tonight, but at these ownerships, I think we can take that risk. But I don't know. Jared Butler got kind of benched that first game. He was 2% owned, and then he went off the next game. And since then, his minutes have been pretty good. No Quentin Grimes tonight, even though Kelly Oubre's back. I think he should be okay
Yeah,
as
I
far as
think
minutes go.
yeah, I think we get the 30 we want. And again, I don't think it matters whether this game is close or not. So
Kelly's out. Did we know that?
Kelly Oubre?
Yeah, let me refresh the model here. Is that
Ugh.
right, fellas? It must have just came out. Kelly's out, Lonnie Walker's out, and
Justin Edwards is out.
Justin Edwards just got ruled out too. Okay, I didn't. Okay, okay.
He-
We'll come
okay.
back to this team in a few minutes because that's a disaster.
Well, I mean, we're on the same guys. It's Butler, it's Edward, or
Yeah,
not Edwards, it's Downton and Council. Those three look excellent. The unfortunate part of it is now Downton's going to be chalk along with the others.
Drummond's out too.
I don't
We'll
think
come
so.
back to. No, he's
Is it?
out.
Oh my
He's
god.
marked out on my. Yeah, we'll come back here in a few minutes.
Whew.
Other side of the game, though, how about Indiana on the road? They were 12.5 point favorites. I mean, I don't think those guys are like major players or anything, but I imagine the line is going to move some since that's like half their team just got rolled out. I am getting to some Hallie, and then I was taking some shots on the same guys, Siakam and Turner. I'm not sure how that's going to change now. I'm kind of less interested. I'll see if the model even changes at all, though. What do you think now?
Yeah, it's just tough for them to get there if they're not going to play full minutes. And I don't know how many times this season have we said this game might blow out and then it doesn't. But yeah, it's enough for me to kind of come off of these Pacers. It's not like any of them are very popular. I don't know that any one play here is something I'd be forcing in. And it's like this team has such a deep bench. It's different than like the Celtics where they have Pritchard who plays even if the game blows out. Like we maybe get run for someone like Shepard, Toppin, but I can't sit here and say one of these guys is really appealing over another. I think if this game stays close, Hallie, Siakam both look outstanding. Throw Turner into that mix as well, especially with Drummond out. Really soft matchup for him. But I don't know. On a very big slate, especially on FanDuel, it's just tough for me to get to these pieces because they're all kind of priced where they should be. This team is healthy. So yeah, proceed with caution. And unfortunately, I don't know that there's like one guy who benefits in a massive way in a blowout. One of the deeper benches in the league, just in terms of bodies.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything more to add to their just tournament plays, given the likely blowout here.
Yep.
We just got some news that Jaylen Brown and Porzingis are out. Horford is available. This is also in that first set of games. So let's talk about the Miami side first and wait for a Boston to update. For Miami, so we had a 7.5 point spread, 215.5 total, super low. Jovic is still out. Burks is out. And the rest of Miami seems to be good. So what do you like from this side? I'm only looking at Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, I also look at Hero. Again, I've been saying this all year. I don't like the price on him. I just want to preface with that. But he's not owned, and guards who can create their own shots do well against Boston. It's just a thing. Don't exactly know why, but it's going to continue to be a thing. So if no one wants to play Hero here, I do think sub 9K. He has upside. Um, I mean, with Porzingis, who else is out? It probably becomes a little bit better of a matchup for Bam. I don't know that I get to him at that price. There's a lot of good kind of mid-range bigs tonight, especially in that Cleveland game. So yeah, I'm with you on Wiggins. I think he looks good, but throw Hero into that mix as well as kind of a sneaky tournament play. I think he really does have 50-point upside here in a matchup that on paper you wouldn't really expect it.
Yeah, I actually didn't realize Hero was only projected for 3% ownership. I'm actually double the field on both of these guys. I have exactly 14 Wiggins and 6 Hero. And then I do have 2% Bam. I don't love the price. He went off last time. It's tougher matchup against Boston. I don't know. Can Al Horford hold him? Maybe. The price is a little bit high. Model doesn't really love it for value. Really, the model only likes Andrew Wiggins here today. And then Tyler Harrow's fine as the pay up, too. I guess Bam's 9.9. It's not terribly off.
Yeah, low total.
Let's see if we can figure out this Boston side before the model update, though. I don't think it'll be updated yet.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
so yeah, I mean, no Brown, no Porzingis. We've seen Al Horford going off. I imagine his value is going to go up. It's only at 9 right now, 25 minutes. This will adjust with Porzingis out of the model, but talk to me about Boston side.
Yeah, Miami's big. They're maybe going to start two bigs here. I wouldn't be surprised to see Horford starting next to Cornette. Regardless, I do think Horford's a good play. I mean, coming off two massive games, there is a good chance he's over-owned. But with forward eligibility, I do think it's kind of justified again. Bam and Khalil Ware kind of forced you to play big here. So I do think they're pretty appealing. And then, as is always the case, whenever any starter is ruled out, we turn to Peyton Pritchard. It's something we've been doing all season to varying degrees of success. But with both Brown and Porzingis out, I think he's a really, really strong play here. plenty of upside at 5,500. I don't love the matchup, but regardless, I do want to get to some of him. Obviously, with Brown out too, we're going to see a boost for Tatum. I do think he's going to be one of the top OF index plays on the slate, especially over on FanDuel where you don't have those late games. The price is up. I mean, it doesn't look great on paper, especially in this matchup. But if you're looking for raw points, we have a ton of value. I think you could get there. I mean, Tatum does have 70-point upside regardless of matchup. He got to 80 against Cleveland, albeit that game did go to OT. So he's shown he could do it against good defenses. I want to get to some Tatum here if I can, but the priorities are probably going to be Horford and Pritchard ahead of him. Those three are my favorites. You can mix in the guards, White, Drew. Not going to argue with anyone getting there. Cornette, if you want to get a little weird, again, only if he starts, but I'd much rather play Horford. I don't think the price gap between them two is significant enough for me to try to get leverage on that ownership.
Yeah, I'm going to have to adjust my stuff because I was getting exposure to basically no Celtics before that news.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to now. Like, I'm not jumping to get at them. It's still the first game. But there are going to be some, I don't know, I guess pricing inefficiencies now. We'll come back to this in a few minutes. The model needs to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, especially on DK, I do just want to hammer this point home real quick. The DK slate, I like a lot. It's super condensed. The games are all 7 or 8 p.m. So there's not a ton we're going to be waiting on necessarily. We already know a lot of the injury situations for Cleveland, San Antonio, etc. So you can kind of build knowing what you're getting into there. On FanDuel, it's a little bit tougher, again, with all those late games. But I'm heavier on DK tonight. I imagine I have a lot of Boston.
Yeah, let me give you guys an overview of the slate real quick. So Jared Butler's still at the top. Stephon Castle and these other San Antonio guys are showing up here because De'Aaron Fox played too well in one game. They decided they had to shut him down for the season.
He's getting surgery, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, his little left pinky got hurt or whatever. But we got 4 Cleveland guys, no Donovan Mitchell still. And so these are going to be the chalk plays. I mean, the model likes everyone here. Everyone here is super strong. And so a lot of the guys we talk about are going to be pivots and guys that we mix in with these guys. And let me just show you FanDuel since it's a little different. What the 74%? Goodwin? What are we doing, dude? He's not going to play 30 minutes, even without Luka out. Yeah, we'll get to him when we get to the Lakers. That's insane, dude. 50% connect. I think the model's still crunching because that's wrong. If these guys actually like, I was not that excited to play on a FanDuel tonight because of the longer slate. But if you guys are actually going to come in with this ownership, then never mind. Like that seems like an advantage for us.
Yeah, man. They're thin. But 70% good one just seems wrong, especially with some of this value opening up in Boston. I don't think that holds.
4 Lakers projected for more than 20%. I mean, we'll take a look when we get to that game and see how true that is. But we do have the Clippers Atlanta next. Clippers are the 4.5-point favorites. Seems a little light with Kawhi in, right? I like the Clippers. Zubac, Kawhi, and Harden not getting to much of the role players. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I like that big three that you just mentioned. I mean, Bogdan coming off the best game of his season seems rejuvenated since this trade. Fine mixing him in as long as the ownership doesn't get out of hand. I thought the field might overreact a little bit. 38 minutes, 4 for 7 from 3, 10 boards, which is super weird for him. But yeah, 30 real points against Miami. Not something we could really expect, but he is underpriced if he's going to start in that Norm Powell role. Again, Harden prefers to be the point guard here. Like, he doesn't want to have to take a ton of shots. Kawhi looks good, but the price is up to a point now where I don't feel great about it. But this is an excellent matchup on the road. I do think it's competitive, and yeah, Atlanta's been a great spot for these opposing offenses. So yeah, I think you can make a case for pretty much any starter except for Chris Dunn. I just don't love his upside. Just not even going to see probably 15% usage with this starting group. But yeah, I like Harden. I'm fine with Kawhi and Zoo. Bogdan, I do think is good as long as he doesn't get too popular.
So I've been talking about, I think Kawhi's been kind of overowned on the show. I don't really understand it. He's been doing pretty well. Model still doesn't identify him as elite value, but 10.6 OF index, his price came up a little bit. He's fine. Zubac is once again going to be the guy I target the most from this team, though. And then, yeah, I'm actually pretty even between Kawhi and James Harden, even with that price difference. They both look pretty good. The difference for me is on DraftKings. I actually am getting to some Chris Dunn and a few percent of Batum, where on FanDuel I wasn't really. You okay with that?
I don't like Batum unless he's starting again. He's also
assuming he starts. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think they might go with Bogdan here. It's also a little
Okay.
revenge narrative if you want to play that angle too. But
Okay.
yeah, Batum for me, I mean, he's pretty much the same exact player as Derek Jones at this point in his career, just worse from three. Like they're gonna split minutes off the bench. Like Batum, I feel better about when he starts because you know he's getting a little bit of extra run, which goes a really long way when you're that cheap. So um, also need to mention Ben Simmons is back tonight, another wing that could cut into both Batum and Jones. So I would not be playing Batum unless he's starting, and even if he does, I don't feel great about it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, this 25 minutes got me because I gave him actually more than we had here. I think I made just that.
Yeah, Simmons is going to play 15. Like you don't want to play Simmons, but it's enough to kind of affect these other guys.
We just got word right now that Ben Simmons is in today, so we'll adjust that. I don't think we're gonna play Ben Simmons though. He
No,
is.
no,
Oh, he's not cheap. No.
don't play him. But yeah, it takes me off Batum.
What's up, Courtney? How we doing? Don, boys. Is this a value center or a cheap center? Is it a one center slate? I can tell you my top DraftKings lineup has Jarrett Allen at center. Um, Not as two center as I usually am. I'm like 50-50. What about you, Nick?
I mean, is Bonin going to start? I love Jared Allen here. He was kind of the guy I had him all my dummies on DK. With Drummond out now, if we see a dumb bonus start, I think he's going to be very appealing. Um, I don't know. There's so many good guards. I'd say more often than not, and in cash games, yeah, it is probably a two center night.
It's like all my util spots: Ty Jerome, Stephon Castle, Tari Eason.
Art is
Like
loaded.
yeah, Zubac, Mobley, Steven Adams. Steven Adams.
Steven Adams.
Shout out to Steven Adams for killing every lineup I had last time because he was the pivot to the Chalk Mason Plumlee, remember? And they both got ejected.
Yeah, yeah, that was kind of gross, but yeah, shouts out to Plumlee for actually looking like the man in that exchange. Though it's rare that
Dude,
Adams doesn't completely punk out anyone.
I'm under the impression that Steven Adams is the strongest person in the NBA, so yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah,
Do we
he.
like playing Castle and Paul together,
I don't like playing Paul much just because I don't trust the minutes.
even without Fox?
I mean, even without Fox, like, are they really going to ramp up his minutes? Like, I'd rather get to more Castle, maybe more Keldon, more Vassell. Like, I have trouble expecting them to give Paul more than 28.
I like it. Yeah. I don't know that I'm going to set a rule for it. I guess I need to see what kind of
Yeah, I
combos I'm
wouldn't set
getting
a
for those
rule,
two.
but like even just looking at OF Index real quick, Vassell and Castler ahead of Paul. Um, I mean, in terms of value, Paul looks good because 4,900 is very tempting. But yeah, I mean, you could do it. Like, I'm not going to talk you off it. It is an awesome matchup. Just know that Paul's minutes are probably capped around 28.
Jose, we'll talk about Hauser when we get to Boston. I did not forget about the tournament winner. Don't worry.
Oh, God.
We do need to talk about Atlanta on the other side of this Clippers game, though. And for Atlanta, we are missing Clint Capella, Larry Nance. It's the ones that matter. So Okongwu, man, what a letdown last time. He's only projected for 3% and 4% ownership. It's a tougher matchup against the Clippers, so I'm not as like I don't want to get back like I would against most other teams, but he's still low owned after failing, so I'll get there. Not getting much else from this team, just shots on Dyson Daniels and then actually George Niang on DraftKings. I'm getting a little bit of. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it stinks that Okongwu had those games. I mean, I don't know. There's so many good centers tonight. We just talked about Alan Bona. I'm fine getting to Okongwu as long as he stays low owned. I do like Dyson Daniels. He's probably my favorite hockeyer, consistently scoring, doing everything. And then Karis LeVert off the bench has been kind of a beast. I don't mind mixing him in. Very much boomer bust. He does have a low floor, but in a matchup like this, I think they're going to need his scoring to keep up. Pretty high total game here. Should do well, fast paced. No issues going there. And if you want to mix in Niang, I don't think it's insane. I just think by the time we get to lock, we're going to have so much good value. He's kind of out of the conversation.
Real quick, Clippers are starting Batum, Harden, Dunn, Leonard,
Hmm.
Batum, Zubac. So, I mean, I guess I'm
I'm
already
still not
built for
playing
that.
Batum, but yeah, I mean,
Well, with him starting, I was getting 3%. That seems like
that's
enough.
fine. Yeah, yeah. And I still don't mind mixing a little Bogdan if you want to play that revenge angle coming off the best game of the season.
Were you getting to much Trey Young?
No, but maybe I should. I mean, he's looked good, albeit in better matchups against Charlotte and Indiana. He has been taking more shots, 5+3 attempts, and I think most of his games the past couple of weeks, which is obviously a good thing to see. Um, But yeah, I mean, at that price, I just don't know that I want to pay up for him. Like my favorite plays tonight are mostly in the 8 to 9K range. Now that we have Tatum opening up, it's just a little bit tougher for me to get to him. But if he's not going to be popular, I do think there's merit to playing him in tournaments for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, on DK, I didn't really get to trade just a couple percent in my 150, but on FanDuel, I'm actually at 9%, which is pretty far over this
he's
2%.
underpriced on FanDuel. Yeah, just looking at that now, 9,500 compared to 10,400. I do like him as a tournament play a lot on FanDuel.
And the model does think he's the strongest value on this team. Now, no one on this team is elite value, so but Trae Young's the pay up, and then Mohamed Gaye and George Niang look good on DK for value.
I'd say just be careful with Gaia. I know he's had a couple
Yeah.
decent games, but his minutes tend to get capped pretty quickly, even when he starts.
Let's go to the next game, Dallas and Houston. So Dallas, I'm under the impression PJ Washington plays. Dante Exum is still questionable. Yeah, talk to me. I'm trying to figure out the injury report because these guys have been out for a while. Brandon Williams is questionable too. I mean, Dallas is one of these tough teams that we have to get through. They're not really pulling much ownership though. So who do you think we can take shots on here?
I mean, if Washington was out, I wouldn't mind maybe mixing in Kessler Edwards. He spiked his ceiling lately. I think he's in. I'm with you. So it's kind of tough to get here. I mean, the guy who's shown the most upside is Najee Marshall, but now that he's 8K, I'm like really not crazy about that. Clay's been shooting fine. Max Christie's okay. Again, just a low total, tough matchup. And while they're not healthy, like the prices have been adjusted and they're getting healthier than they've been. So relatively speaking, they're healthier than they've been when these prices kind of emerged. So I don't really see myself getting to much here, if anything. Um,
It's
yeah,
just
I
no
don't
one
know.
stands out. No one's a priority. Like Clay Thompson is borderline elite value on FanDuel, 1%. I'm always okay taking shots on shooters, even though it's a tough matchup. But other than that, a couple percent of Clay, I don't know that I'll get much.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Williams off the bench has been really solid. Again, all these guys are priced up now, though. Like, there's not a ton of meat on the bone.
And you could say, like, what about Max Christie? Well, the model thinks he's one of the worst value plays of the whole day. I don't know. Sorry, Mavs fans.
It's a bad matchup.
We'll go to the other side, though. Houston. Houston is missing someone. Is Amon Thompson still out?
Thompson. Yep.
Yeah, Amon Thompson's still out. Tari Eason, man, that's the guy I'm getting the most from here. You guys know that I love him as a DFS play, but the model's giving us Steven Adams and Dylan Brooks as better values on DraftKings, and then on FanDuel just Dylan Brooks. But I'm getting exposure to both of those guys. What do you want to do with Houston?
Yeah, I don't really get the Adams love from the model. Dallas, I mean, they're probably going to start Washington at center if
Mm.
he's available. If not, it's going to be Kessler Edwards. They play as small as anyone in the league, so like I just don't really see the need for Adams to get much run here. He could, but yeah, I mean, with Thompson out, you could maybe go to Green, but Van Fleet's back, so these guys' prices haven't really adjusted for that. Sengun should smash, do absolutely whatever he wants, but we just haven't seen the ceiling out of him lately. Again, one of the lower totals on the board. I don't mind getting to some of these pieces. I agree. I do like Eason, but his price is up almost 1K more than it's been for most of the season. Even as a starter, it's just tough for him to really crush value there. So Houston's okay. I do like them better than Dallas, but not a team I'm really getting much of at all.
3x the field on Eason on both sites have mid 30%, and then Dylan Brooks is next up at about 6-7% on both sites. A couple shots on Jalen Green, and then Steven Adams on DraftKings. Sangoon, I usually like Sangoon. I called him boring the other day. 9K on FanDuel, we can probably get to 9,900 on DK. It's really tough, man.
Yeah, I don't know. But the price is kind of prohibitive, honestly. And I love the matchup. I don't know. I'm not excited to get there.
Yeah, I've got Tari Eason. It's like my highest owned play outside of Cleveland or San Antonio, and Jared Butler.
Yeah.
We'll go to the
He's
next.
good.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. I'll see how that adjusts maybe after we mix in some of this other value we got from Boston and Philly. But we'll,
Hmm.
we'll go to the next game. Let's start with Charlotte. They're playing San Antonio. San Antonio's a favorite today. Good for them, man. 3-point favorites, 232.5 total. They did lose D Fox for the season. You already, wait, we're talking about Charlotte. San Antonio lost D Fox for the season. We've seen Miles Bridges go off lately. I've been talking about it. His ownership's been staying low. It finally started creeping up last time. Price has not adjusted as quickly as it should be. I mean, 36 minutes is a high projection, but this guy has been a machine recently. So that's my highest exposed player here. What about you?
Yeah, it might be my favorite pay up on the slate, which is kind of insane to say. This game should be competitive. He's been playing 35, 38 minutes per night, just producing at a tremendous level, even with LaMelo in. We've been playing him when LaMelo was out, but he's shown like he's going to have the higher usage right now. He's getting the better shots. I mean, he's making 5 threes a game, it feels like. I love Miles Bridges. The price feels crazy, but I love the matchup. Again, on paper, the Spurs still look like kind of a tough spot for bigs, but not that Bridges is a true big, but yeah, we got to adjust. Obviously, no Wemby is a big difference here. Bismack isn't slowing him down. I love Bridges here. He's definitely my favorite play.
And I actually kind of look at San Antonio as a team that I like playing guys against because I feel like they play at a high pace. Without Wemby on the court, their defense isn't exactly elite. So it seems like a
Mhm.
spot. I want to talk about the other guys from the big four on Charlotte, though. I'm getting a couple shares of LaMelo, just a couple percent of Mark Williams, and then that fourth guy, Jaquan Jeffries, top of value.
Yeah, man. Jeffries just feels too cheap if he's going to play 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Not historically a great point per minute producer. I think he fouled out last game and he still had almost 30 fantasy points. So, yeah, just a guy who's taking a lot of shots. Fine mixing him in. He's way, way too cheap if he's going to be starting here and playing 30 minutes. So I like mixing him in. LaMelo, since I'm so bullish on Bridges, it is giving me some pause. I mean, just talking game theory, it does make sense to pivot a little bit. But the ownership gap isn't as wide as I was expecting. LaMelo is getting a decent amount of love. So I'd rather just kind of load up on Bridges. I do think Williams looks good. He's been crushing, but he's been crushing in limited minutes. So just
Mm-hmm.
proceed with some
Yeah.
caution there. We haven't seen him play 30 all week.
LaMelo sucks now, man. This dude doesn't have a single triple double this season.
I mean, if that's the bar,
That's the
then yeah.
bar. Yeah, it's a bar average 30 or a triple double, one of the two. Other
Yeah.
side of the game, though, Spurs. Yeah, we got a fun one here. Lots of ownership coming to this team. Like we said, no De'Aaron Fox. They're also without Victor Wembanyama, I guess. I thought
Mhm.
someone else was out, just Charles Bassey, but minutes are going to be a little bit harder to predict here. I think we're all assuming Stephon Castle gets that start. To me, he's our best player that's available. Getting a ton of exposure to everyone else, though. Who are you looking at here?
Yeah, Castle looks excellent. Even coming off the bench, I see some sites projecting him to start. Wouldn't surprise me, but I think either way he looks really good. Devin Vassell or Vassell, as some like to call him, he looks excellent here as well. I think his minutes are as safe as anyone. We have him for 34. Those two are my favorites. Chris Paul getting love over on DK. I mean, at 4,900, I do understand it, but to my point earlier, I just don't necessarily trust his minutes. I don't know that he has a ton of upside, but the price there does make him appealing regardless. You don't need him to get over 30 to hit value. And then, yeah, Keldon is someone who should benefit as well. It's been tough to project the bench minutes for these guys historically, only played 17 against Dallas. I don't mind mixing him in. I wish Sochan was getting more consistent minutes. I think he's the better producer of the two and more valuable for their future, certainly. But yeah, right now it's mostly just Castle, Vassal. Whether they rhyme or not depends who you ask.
I meant to call him Stefan Cassell, dude. I missed one. But
I'll
as
just
far
give
as
you a hard time.
DK goes, I'm getting Castle the most, and then I'm getting a lot of Sochan and Vassell. I'm getting a decent amount of Keldon, CP3, and then I'm getting percents of Harrison Barnes and Champagne. Model thinks basically all of these guys are playable. I'm a little disappointed how low Sochan is, but I'm going to ignore that a little bit and still get over this 11%. But everyone here looks pretty good. And like I said, I'm getting a decent amount of everyone. I think Stephon Castle's the only guy that really stands out to me, but the model has Devin Vassell as the guy that really stands out here. Similar price as Castle. I think that's a possible pivot.
Yeah, I mean, I like them both a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wouldn't talk you off either. And I think you could play them together again. This is one of the better game environments on the slate.
Are you okay playing four Spurs in a lineup?
No, because I only really like two.
Okay.
I just wouldn't. Like, who would the four be? I guess is my question.
Castle, Vassal, Sochan, and Paul. Castle, Vassal, Sochan, and
Doesn't feel
Paul.
good, man.
Or
Doesn't
Keldon
feel good.
or Barnes. Yeah, I'm thinking about I might set a rule max three. They're all pretty cheap though. And so I want to see how just scrolling through, I'm not really getting four of anyone in lineups. I'm getting a lot of Cleveland in my lineups, three
That
Cleveland
makes
guys
sense.
and everyone. But anything else on San Antonio?
No, I think that's it. We're gonna have to see a few of these games without Fox to really know what they're doing with this bench.
Yeah, just uh I'll mention on FanDuel, I'm not getting as much of these guys as I am on DK. We do have more games over there though, and the prices are different. Still getting to Castle though.
Hmm.
Next game, Orlando, projected for under 100 points. Don't see that very often in 2025, but we saw Cole Anthony get. I love how they did this. Cole Anthony got late scratched an hour before the game starts. Shout out to Orlando, man. Best organization in basketball. Uh, he's questionable. We still don't know if he's playing. We saw Paolo and Franz take up about 95% of the total usage on this team yesterday. Their ownerships are pretty low. I like getting back to him even in a perceived tough matchup in a seems like a little bit too wide of a spread. What do you think about taking shots on these guys again?
Yeah, I mean they're traveling on a back to back, so it is a tough spot. But yeah, I think if they're both going to be sub 10%, you can make a case for either Wagner or Bonchero. I mean, do keep in mind with Cole Anthony off the floor, they were doing a little bit more ball handling than usual. Both those guys can kind of play point forward, take the ball up the court. But yeah, I wouldn't argue at these ownerships with playing either of them. I do prefer Paulo. He's just been spiking
Same.
the higher ceiling, but you get a little bit of a discount there for Franz, so I think they're fine. Don't love the matchup, but yeah, those two look good. That's pretty much it for me from Orlando, though. I really can't trust much else right now. Wendell Carter's been brutal in terms of his consistency.
Yeah, man. It's like I just want to cross him out every day. I think I crossed him out once, and he was the tournament winner that day for the only time this whole season. But it's just there's other center plays today. It's a large slate. I don't
Yeah,
love the price. I will take shots on Cole Anthony if he's in though. Always willing to take shots on him more so on DK at the 5K.
yeah, he's got upside.
And then Minnesota on the other side of this game. Fully healthy. Wow. Not getting to much here. I still feel like I want to take some shots though. Do you see anything appealing here?
Yeah, it would be Ant. I mean, again, whenever you get a player with his ability and upside sub 5% on a big slate, checks enough boxes for me to kind of get some exposure. I mean, other than that, with this team getting healthy, I don't feel really good about it. I will say Mike Conley, cheaper than Chris Paul. Don't mind him as a pivot at 0% ownership. But again, with this team getting healthy in a terrible matchup, it's tough to really sit here and say I'm super confident in anyone.
Yeah, I don't have anything else. I think that's about it for this team. I mean, this is probably the most boring game on the whole slate. It's slow, low total, not exciting, but don't ignore it completely. I mean, I have less than 10% total exposure to this game on DraftKings right now, but I think I need to boost Paolo a little bit. Last game on the DraftKings slate, though, is probably the best game of the whole night for DFS purposes. What are we at? 244.5 total. Love it. 2.5 point spread. Cleveland's without Donovan Mitchell. DeAndre Hunter is probable, which is great. Thought he was going to miss, but we have some value here. Ty Jerome, love Jared Allen. Max Struess is elite. Darius Garland's elite. Evan Mobley's elite. The other guys are kind of just there, but tell me about Cleveland. I need to step away for a minute.
Yeah, so I'll start with Garland. I mean, he's just a different player with Mitchell off the floor. Went for 55 plus against Brooklyn the other night. I mean, dating back to it was Houston, I think, on the 25th, where Mitchell sat last, and he had 50 plus that game as well. On paper, I do think Garland is kind of your cash point guard tonight. I know he's a little bit more expensive than some of the value we're talking about, but I do feel best about him. Mobley and Allen both look great. I think it kind of depends which site you're playing on, who you're going to get more of. I do think Allen over on DK is 6,400, kind of a no-brainer. 18.4 DK value score for him is tremendous. The same as Ty Jerome, I'm about to talk about. I do like Mobley. I just think he's kind of priced where he should be. Like, he's going to need to push 55, 60 points to really crush value at his price. He looks excellent, but I do think Allen on DK is the better play in terms of point per dollar. Ty Jerome's good. Again, he's pretty much the Peyton Pritchard of the Cavs. Or if any starters out, whether the game's close or it's a blowout, he should be heavily involved. Hunter's return does cap his upside a bit. Not enough for me to come off of him, though. I do like him as value. But again, just to kind of recap, Garland by far my favorite Cav here, followed by Allen on DK, then Mobley. Jerome looks good as value now as well. But a little bit of risk on him with Hunter in and available. But yeah, Garland's going to be in on most of my lineups tonight. I can say that with confidence.
Yeah, if you guys watch the show, even last time the first game Mitchell was out, you know that I do not like Garland, but without Mitchell, I think we got to play him. The price is coming up a little bit, so I'm not quite as interested as I am last time, but he's still one of my highest exposed players. Are you okay getting four Cavs, or do you want to set it to three?
Um, I would set it to three. I think. And again, I'd have Garland in almost everything. I think on DK, Allen looks excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, four is pushing it. And I didn't even mention Struess. I'd mix him in ahead of Hunter for the discount. But yeah, There's a world where 4 works out. I prefer 3. There's just so many games on this slate. The douche always makes this point in Discord. It doesn't always work out, but if you have guys hitting ceilings, it's tough for a ton of them on the same team to do it, even if a guy like Mitchell's out. So I think 3 feels better here than 4, personally.
I'm okay with 4 given the high total, and everyone is slightly underpriced for Mitchell today.
Yeah,
I don't think, like, maybe Garland is close to the appropriate price, maybe Mobley, but I know that Jared Allen's underpriced on DK. Ty Jerome is probably underpriced for the minutes, and then Struce at 9%. This is the guy to take a shot on, like Nick said, so I'll
that's the
mix it
pivot.
in.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
getting a
that's
ton of
true.
exposure, yeah. I don't think I need to set a rule, though. I'm mostly getting just 3 Cavs in lineups. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, if there's a team to get 4 of, it's probably the Cavs here. This total's crazy, 244 plus.
Yeah, and the other side, Memphis, JJJ is questionable. Did you see any updates on him?
No, I don't know. I thought he'd be back sooner than he has been, but yeah, it's an ankle. It's usually smart to kind of take your time on that. I really don't have a good read, honestly.
Santi's out, but the rest of the team looks good to go. I'm actually not getting as much exposure over on DK. I'm actually getting more on FanDuel, which is surprising because we have 3 extra games there. But John Morant's been on fire. His price is coming up by OF Index. It's him, Bane, JJJ, and then everyone else is kind of just role players today. Zach Edey stands out on his value on DK. Luke Kennard is borderline. On FanDuel, it's really JJJ at 8K, 2%. What kind of shots do you want to take here?
Yeah, if JJJ's in, I think this is just a tough team to get to. If he's out, I think the boost to Bane and Morant's enough that I do want to get some exposure. Front court, not a great spot for Edie, personally, in my opinion. Too many good centers for me to want to go there. But yeah, if JJJ's out, I do want to get into a little bit of Bane and Morant. If he's in, I'm pretty comfortable not getting to much of this team as much as I do like Cleveland.
Yeah, I thought we'd have more to talk about on the Memphis side. I guess they're just not that interesting. I mentioned I'm getting more on FanDuel. I'm not loading up. Like I'm not super far over the field on these guys.
Hmm.
I think we're good on this game, right?
Yeah, let's keep it rolling.
Let's get a couple questions here. Horford or Orlando Robinson better center play on FanDuel?
I like
Orlando.
Horford. You
Mm,
like
oh,
Orlando?
well, I was going to say Orlando's at the top. Let me refresh though and see if maybe Horford came up after the model adjust. On FanDuel, we got Robinson. Where's
What is
Horford, man?
Horford price, man?
Al Horford is not showing up as good value for the first time ever, so keep that in mind. The model has loved Horford, and he's mostly been doing it when it does. Today, the model thinks he sucks, so that's kind of interesting. We'll check one more time and see if that re-updates. But
He
any
also has
other
forward eligibility. Just want to mention that.
and Adam Bonus showing up at the top of value now, like we expected. Jared Allen, Evan Mobley. I
Those are
mean,
my two favorite centers.
anyone else stand out?
As far as centers go, I mean, Bona and Allen are definitely my favorites. I do like Mobley. I don't know. It's going to be a lot of Bona and Allen for me. I don't know. That's really going to be most of my center exposure.
Let's go back to Boston real quick after the update. What are the chances of Hauser having another ceiling game? I mean, if you want me to put on a number on it, like 8%, but
Yeah.
projected for 2 and 1% ownership, I think we treat him the same way as we did last time. He just happened to go off. It's going to happen. Sometimes he's going to score 7, but I'm going to be over this 2% for sure. He's still a good price.
Yeah, you could mix them in. The price is up a little bit. I am kind of shocked that Pritchard isn't more popular. 6% on DK, 2 on FanDuel. I imagine he comes in higher owned than that, but to me, I mean, that's the guy I want to get to a low ownership.
The model doesn't think he's great today, but we do have him projected for 28 minutes, 6% ownership. He's kind of a pivot off of Ty Jerome. They kind of play the same role, and they're both in a similar spot with people missing. So I
Yeah.
don't mind getting that, taking that pivot a little bit. And as for Derek White, like I never like playing Drew Holiday. He ends up in my exposures because his price is usually good and his projection's okay. But I think I will try to get a little more D White, and then I'd call Jason Tatum the worst 10K player of all time. He's up to 11K. I'm sure he'll end up in my exposures, but I don't know. What do you think about it now?
He's good, but he has the same OF index score as Mobley. I'd still rather play Bridges for the discount. So I like Tatum if you can get there. Depends how many lineups I'm playing, whether I do or not, honestly. He's definitely behind Bridges and Mobley for me, but good play if you can afford him. Not going to tell anyone not to play him.
Trey looking like an old man. Hasn't Trey been going off like 5 games in a row?
I mean, he's been hot. Yeah, I don't know if you're watching the past couple of games, man. Trey, I mean,
Dropped
the
like,
hair has always made him look like an old man, but he's been playing really well.
yeah, I mean, 350 balls in a row doesn't exactly get it done at 10K, but the 63 sure will. But yeah, dude,
Yeah,
what is this? He's shooting less than 20% from three over the last 5 games. This is a premier 3 point shooter. It's not going to continue. What's his ownership today, Trey Young? He's only coming in at 3 and 2%, even though the price on DK is high. I guess I mentioned I was getting there on FanDuel.
yeah. I mean, 40% plus usage and 35 real points in back-to-back games.
Vassell making an appearance. Thank you, Mike, helping us become better people. Favorite center play, we talked about it a little bit. Okoro looks nice. I just can't get there, man. With all
No,
the other
no.
guys,
With
his
Hunter
role is
back,
just.
that last game Okoro played well was with Hunter and Jerome out. I would not be playing any.
It's just like we talk about Sam Hauser. Well, Sam Hauser can get hot from three. Like Okoro, theoretically, it's possible, but it's just a little bit too far for me today.
I actually think he's a talented player. I just think his role on this team is not good enough to be playing him when they're this deep.
Bridges or Leonard, Nick?
I like Bridges.
Yeah, I like Bridges, and the model does too. On DK, it's pretty close, and on FanDuel, it's actually Kawhi on a FanDuel due to the price. So consider that. Oh, Bridges or Mobley. Model loves Mobley, and honestly, Bridges like he's kind of popular, but he is still a pivot since his ownership is like
I
half.
like Bridges. Yeah,
Yeah,
I just think I don't know. I just like Bridges right now. I mean, the Cavs have so many guys that are probably going to do well here. And I'm heavy on Allen. It just doesn't feel great to be heavy on both Allen and Mobley. I think they're both good plays, but I don't know. It's enough for me to kind of talk myself onto more Bridges.
I really like it. Like looking at my top lineups that have Allen at center and Miles Bridges instead of Evan Mobley, they all have Darius Garland.
Yeah,
But that
yeah.
feels pretty good to me. And Stephon Castle's in all of these too. See if that
Yeah, I
changes.
did want to mention someone just commented on this. Orlando Robinson. I kind of quickly, who did I say I wanted over him? Horford. Looking at it a little deeper now, I forgot they were playing Utah. Like, this is a really good spot for him. At the same time, they've had other guys out, but yeah,
Prices
I
up.
do think I slightly prefer Robinson over Horford the more I kind of think about it. Happy to correct myself, and yeah, I don't want to steer you wrong. I'd rather play Orlando.
And Zubac or Mobley, model's still going to be on Mobley. But again, especially on DK, exact price, one third of the ownership if Zubac's the pivot.
Yeah, if you already have Garland and Allen, I would go to Zoo. If you don't have one of those two, I'd still go to Mobley.
I'll just answer this one real quick. Jared Allen's the higher guy on the model, and so is Wiggins, so it's probably going to be the option.
Cool.
Quickly or Derek White. Let's talk about Toronto since we get into this
Yeah, we got these
FanDuel
late
slate.
games.
Um, yeah, talk to me about Toronto. Orlando Robinson, I guess his price came up. Other guys are in. I already mentioned Jared Roden's in the G League, so we didn't have to worry about him. But are you getting to anybody here?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to, but it seems like Robinson kind of found some confidence these past couple games. Took 16 shots against Philly. To me, that's this number I'm looking at. More than what went in, more than the usage, more than anything. The fact he took 16 shots tells me coaches in his ear saying, "Take more shots, you idiot. We need you to do so, whether they're tanking or not." So I like Robinson. I think he's underpriced. The model loves him. So he's probably my favorite here. I think with RJ coming back, even with Grady Dick out, it's a little bit tougher to get the guys like Barnes quickly. But they're fine plays. This is a really good matchup with a tight spread.
I've been talking crap about AJ Lawson, man. Showing up at top of value again. 8.3 OF index, kind of insane for his price. He's only projected for 2% ownership. He didn't start last time, and he ended up just taking all of Jamal Sheed's minutes off the bench. Ended up starting the second half. Don't expect that to happen tonight. We still need to word on Scotty Barnes. He's questionable. Jakob Pertl's out. And I guess Ochai Agbaji's questionable still, too. So if those guys are out, are you going to get to more AJ Lawson or any of these other deep role players?
No, Toronto's been a nightmare. Just like there's no rhyme or reason to what these guys have been doing with these role players. So I would rather just use some of the other value where the minutes seem a little bit more structured.
I like it. And then with AJ Lawson, man, it just I got to think that we still think he's coming off the bench. He's projected for the most minutes on this team. That can't be right, but we don't know what to do with Toronto. That's probably the one team that the minutes are just really up in the air right now.
Yeah.
PJ Washington's out,
Mhm.
and Stephon Castle's confirmed starting, so nice. Other side, Utah. So they got fined. They can't sit out guys like they were, but we're still without John Collins, Keontae George. I'm taking shots on Kessler, and I actually really like Colin Sexton tonight. What about you?
I don't mind Sexton. It's usually tough for me to get to him with some of these other guards available, but it is such a good matchup. There's really no reason not to. Um, yeah, Laurie being available gives me some pause. Again, just kind of tough to project these guys because they have been so banged up. They're a little bit healthier than usual, but on paper, they're pretty appealing at reasonable ownership. So I'm with it, man. I don't mind it at all. He is underpriced.
Clarkson's back. We haven't seen him in a while. His price, as long as he's under 6K, I don't mind if he shows up. I'm not targeting him. And then Collier, I don't know. With no Keontae, I don't mind it on FanDuel. Again, don't love it, though. If I have zero, I'm okay with it.
I'm with you.
Let's talk about Denver Lakers. So Denver, what do we have for Denver? Christian Brown probable, Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic all probable, Zeke Naji probable, Aaron Gordon questionable. We're without Julian Strother. Over on FanDuel, I'm getting some percents of Brown, Porter, and just barely Murray and Jokic. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I do want to mix in some Joker. I think regardless of whether this game stays close or not, he has ridiculous upside. Definitely more raw point upside than any other play on the slate. But yeah, with Gordon coming back, it does kind of cut into the upside of some of these other guys. I don't know that I really want to force them in just because they're priced where they should be. Murray feels a little bit underpriced. Card is so loaded though. I don't know, not crazy about it. We also got to keep in mind Westbrook's available coming off the bench, cuts into these guys as well. So healthier than they have been. Ridiculous spread. I like Jokic's upside, but I don't think anyone else you could really call a priority. Not that Jokic himself is either.
Model's really only identifying MPJ as an elite value and then Aaron Gordon on the DK Knight slate if he ends up playing. Lakers
Yeah.
on the other side. My Lakers, man. I really thought Luka was going to play. He usually plays hurt. Jordan Goodwin is 62% owned. I have to assume the field thinks he's starting. Projected for 30 minutes. Dalton Connect, 34% at 4,800. Just feels terrible. Austin Reeves, 36% at 8,200. At least is kind of reasonable, but model thinks he's awful tonight. Nick, what do you think?
I mean, if this game were to be close, it's Reeves that you'd want. He's shown that he has that crazy upside. I mean, you can mix and connect, you can mix in Goodwin. I just think they're crazy overowned. So I'm really sitting here not excited to get to any of them. It's like, who are the pivots? Maybe it's Shake Milton. He's the other guard coming up the bench, but he has not been part of the rotation. So tough for me to sit here and say I want to play him. But more than anything, I think I just want to come in under on all of these guys. I think they're just overowned for the matchup, even with the extra opportunity.
I'm getting there on Goodwin. Yeah. And then Shake Milton, I'm well over this 1%. So I'll probably set a rule max one of those two, Goodwin and Milton. I guess Dalton Connect's a good play because I was getting a ton. I'm going to have to adjust that. And then Jared Vanderbilt, 4,500 power forward eligibility is okay. Model thinks he's not like super elite value, but I'm still shocked that's this high. Connect and Goodwin, though. Model loves both of them like a lot.
Yeah.
So I got 4 Lakers in my first run. Don't love it. Last game of the
Yeah.
night, Sacramento, Phoenix. I don't know, a couple percent of DeMar, a couple percent of Keegan Murray. Pretty much it for me. What about you?
Yeah, Sabonis is questionable if he's out. I think Jovel is actually a really good center sneakily here. Um, Other than that, what happened with him last game? He get hurt at half. That was super
Nah,
weird.
he just got benched, dude. He played like half a rotation in the third quarter, and that was it.
Ugh,
They were getting
that gives me
blasted,
some pause.
and
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm always fine taking shots on Monk, Levine, DeRozan, but they're all overpriced if Sabonis is back.
yeah, I don't know. No one's really identifying as super strong here. Maybe Keegan Murray on DK Knight and DeMar on FanDuel. Keegan Murray's borderline on FanDuel as a I don't know, not really a value play, I guess. Last game though, last team, I should say, Phoenix. Nick Richards questionable, Cody Martin questionable. We're without Grayson Allen and Monty Morris. They're both doubtful. Royce O'Neal, assuming he's starting, top value on this team by quite a bit, followed by Nick Richards. I'm interested in Bradley Beal, and I'm taking shots on D-Book and KD. What about you?
Yeah, pretty much exactly the same. Take shots on D-Book and KD. Beal's actually been playing really well when he is in there. Fine getting to him, fine getting to O'Neal. Zero interest in Richards, been super inconsistent. Tyus Jones, never really a thing unless Beal's out. So, yeah, I like O'Neal for value. You could pay up for Durant and Booker. I just think there's a lot of great plays in their price range tonight, so they're kind of tough to get to. But if you're kind of building for these late games, they do make some sense.
Nick Zubac and Leonard are Bridges, and I'm assuming that's Mark Williams.
It's funny they're both like on the same team. I lean Bridges and Williams.
Okay.
I think they have the higher ceiling by a decent margin. I think Kawhi and Zoo have the higher floor, but I would still go with Williams and Bridges. The one concern is just Williams' minutes have been a little bit spotty.
Dude, what the hell? Didn't that just happen to you?
What's that?
Why are our
Oh
members
no,
always getting robbed during the show, dude? It's not the first
that's
time.
fucked up.
It's like the third time.
Not
Obi
bad.
Toppin, were you considering him tonight?
Uh, no, I just think there's too many games, too much value to really go there. It's not insane, but no, it's a no for me.
And then Ty Jerone's going to come off the bench. We just got a flurry of news, though. Cole Anthony did get ruled out. Magic are starting Corey Joseph, Tristan DeSilva, Franz Wagner, Benchero, Wendell Carter. Cooper Kupp signed with the Seahawks. Brandon Williams is in. KCP is also out. And then the Sixers are starting Butler, Doughton, Council, Yabusele, and Bona.
Corey Joseph might be a thing.
I thought he was okay yesterday. I got there a little bit. He ended up doing better than I thought. He only
He
put up
did
like
really
20.
good.
He did put up like 20, and that's just, wow, good game, Corey Joseph.
29.
Oh, did he?
Or
Nice.
no, we're in between. We're both wrong. 25. Oh,
Dude, either way, that's outstanding. I had him for like 16 and a half.
he's min price on DK. I don't think it's crazy.
Not Orlando. We need to look at Philadelphia real quick. So, I mean, dude, we got all the value now. We have 7 players listed in the model. They're all projected for 30 minutes, except for these 2 that we're not playing. But I'm going to get to all 5 of these. I guess I'll put
Yabu
Max
scares me.
Four. Yeah, Yabu's scary because he's the one guy left that Nick Nurse said they're going to monitor minutes. But if they don't play Yabu big minutes, Bona is just going to get all the minutes. So 3,800, 4,200. How comfortable are you playing Bona on FanDuel?
Very, very comfortable.
All
I
right,
like him
I
a
love
lot.
it. Yeah, I'm going to get to a lot of Butler, Council, Bona, and then Doughton too. I don't think I'm going to set a rule. I think I'm just going to let it happen. I'll see how my lineups look. Maybe I'll play with it, but I like
Yeah,
it.
I might just nerf Yabu a little bit. I don't think he's in the player pool, but they do have O'Shea Brissett available, who could play small ball five. So yeah, I just nerf Yabu maybe. It could kill me, but I love Bona here.
All right, let's do a super quick dummy. What do you think about Jared Butler and Bona?
Yeah, let's go Butler, Bona. I'd honestly throw Council in there too, small forward.
Yep. And then from the Cavs, we're getting Garland,
Garland's my favorite. Yeah,
Jared
Castle
Allen.
starting.
Yep, Castle.
Allen, Castle, Bridges.
This is really coming together.
Easy.
7,400 for 2 positions. I mean, if we put Allen at util, that leaves us 8,400 for a second forward. That gives us Jaren Jackson if he's in. Don't love it, but maybe you
Don't love
move someone
Jaren.
around. Yeah, mix in another piece of value from somewhere. Find the pivot, but
Yeah, you could move things around to make that work.
something like this is what we like. Any final words before we get out of here, Nick?
No, guys, as always, just keep an eye on the lineups as well as the news. Things change quickly. And this is a night we're going to see massive, massive scores. Make sure you like everything in your lineup. You don't need to take a ton of risk to get different.
Yeah, I think mix it up too. Like I talk about extreme ownerships, but I don't know if whatever optimizer you're using, just try and mix up the combos however you do it. But really appreciate you guys tuning in. Good luck tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.